Thanks for being on. I think I'm recording, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Somebody just got a bunch of notifications.
Well, I'd like to have a good discussion tonight. You know, we've gone through a lot of turmoil with Shackley, and it was interesting, the things that happened through the turmoil. We're not through yet. I just got a call this evening. Still a lot of junk going on. But it's interesting how many sales leaders made contact with people that they haven't talked to in years. That's one of the things that I heard. And the other thing is, I think we all appreciated what we had. And that felt pretty good. And so the other thing, first of all, I want to thank Marion and Nina for having the Zoom on an hour before, because there was some great 3 testimonials. And I don't know about you, but when I hear these stories of what Shackley has done for people, I get pretty invigorated. I don't know. Marion, are you muted?
Needs muted, and I can't mute her because I'm not a co-host.
Yeah, I made you a co-host.
Oh, you did already?
Yep.
Oh, it doesn't show.
We'll try it again here.
There.
Okay, there we go. So anyway, I have some observations I'd like to get your input on, and listening to the Zoom prior to and hearing the health stories are just very, very, to me, very invigorating. I don't know how you get what you get out of it, and you say, well, I've heard some of the stories before, but they're all a little different. I learned something new from every person. And I got to thinking, many people, we all have in our businesses, most people have, unless you're relatively new, that have been around in Shackley for many years. And I can tell you right now, most of those people heard a lot of Shackley stories. That's why they're such good users, and they've been around for 30 and 40 years. And so the question is, how do we get these people new coming into Shackley to learn about all these great products? And I feel if anybody wants to grow in Shackley, they should do their best to get people on that testimonial Zoom. What an easy way to go. I was telling somebody that's not in the Osterhaus group about those today, and I said, I didn't advocate that they get on yet, but maybe I will. But the point was, what a great way. It doesn't cost a dime to get people to learn about the products, so you can have people using products if you're getting started in Shackley 30 years from now. They got to hear these stories. And if you want to take the time and tell them all the different stories, it's going to take you forever and take a lot of your time. So my feeling is, if you want to grow in Shackley, that would be a requirement. Anybody I'm working with, you get on that and get your people on it, and it'll save you a lot of time, because they're going to go back to schools or wherever they're working, and they're going to start telling other people, boy, you wouldn't believe the story that I heard just the other night. It's phenomenal. And of course, as we get closer to spring, everybody's going to be talking about losing weight, and the 3 testimonials were on losing weight. So it's very, very good, and it's archived. So that way you can go to it or have your people go to it. Very valuable tools that we have. The other thing is, in talking to some people today, not in the group, but expressing the fact that, Shackley is really easy, but they have spent years trying to find out all the how-to, and they didn't understand it is that simple. And the more we try to find out about all the how-tos instead of looking at the reality of what it takes, the more we keep fooling ourselves thinking, I got to read another book. And I've gone over the basic principles that I still feel are so important. It's the in-home presentation, of course, sitting down with people as well on a one-on-one. It's the coaching, and we must make a decision. What was really interesting with the three people talking about losing weight is the fact that they had to make a decision. And Shackley gets too darn easy if you got a number of people using Shackley products that you don't have to make a decision. And I am talking to a guy right now. I'm not going to give any names, but they have a real big business in Shackley, very, very big business. The second generation is coming in, and that's actually the second and the third generation. They know nothing about a business of Shackley. Nothing. And I said I would help them. Nothing. Nothing about the sales plan. Nothing about communication. Nothing about making a decision. They don't even begin to understand their own recap. They have no idea. I am still flabbergasted. This business is so darn easy because they can sit back and not do a dang thing and collecting a lot of money, and that's okay. That's okay if you want to do that. But like Richard Brooke talks about, the important thing is develop leaders that can go out and continue working. And they're not developing leaders. They don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. So it just really gets me thinking about how we have got something that is so incredibly good. I am really trying to figure out, are people, I don't know what it is, afraid to make a decision, or they're lazy. I think there are a lot of lazy people in Shackley today. And that's okay if we want to manage our business very good. I've got some people who are doing a great job managing their business. They do a great job. So managing the business is fine, but just doing nothing and saying, I want my business to grow, and I hope somebody's going to come along and really grow this thing, is I think a sin. I think a sin. With the products that we have, I don't know. We've got an incredible privilege, I feel, to use these products and get the results that we're getting. And somehow I just have a deep feeling that, boy, we got to let other people know. It's a big responsibility. If our products were junk, then that responsibility wouldn't be so big. But you know, I do a lot of three-way calls with people with poor health. And gosh, I'm just flabbergasted how sick people are. Talked to a lady the other day. She has the thyroid. She has a kneecap that's moving all over the place. She's got, I don't know, problems. Well, she gets headaches. She gets tons of stuff going on. I said, you sound pretty young. What is your age? She said, 30 years of age. I'm telling you, folks, it's getting younger and younger and younger all the time. So when I talk to people, many people say, well, I just want to help people. But I don't want to be unrealistic. I want to take my time, but I want to help a lot of people. And I gently say, you're a liar, liar, liar. Because helping a lot of people, I feel that means helping a lot of people. But yet, I don't want to set any standards. I don't want to set any goals. I don't want to try to do this or that. Then you're just saying it because it sounds good. It sounds so righteous to say I want to help a lot of people. I really want to help people, but I don't want to set any goals. I don't want to make any decisions. I believe they're phonies. And I tell them so. I tell them in the nicest way possible. But I tell them, you have a contradiction. You want to help a lot of people, but you're telling me you really don't want to grow fast. You're telling me that you want to help mankind, but I'm going to wait for somebody to come along and see if they want to build this thing. So anyway, I'm just kind of in a turmoil of trying to figure out I don't know, what can be done. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm just trying to get answers for this thing because we've gone through a real mess with Shackley, shaken some people up, which may be good, but it's also discouraged a lot of people. And that's where I guess you really try to figure out, am I really in this thing to really make a difference? You know, I was thinking back years ago, a little before I came into Shackley, there was a truck strike. And people in Minneapolis couldn't get products, so they drove all the way to California with rental trucks to get products. And nobody complained. And I remember when there was a warehouse in, well, first of all, in Minneapolis, and people were wanting products and sales leaders are wanting to grow, and I would drive over there 13 hours, Minneapolis, be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, drove all night, get these products, take them out of the boxes, put them under the seat, the glove box and everything else because the car was packed. Leave the cardboard boxes there because they took up room. And I'd drive back. I'd get back late at night and people were waiting there for their products. And nobody complained because we were on a mission. We had purpose. We had goals. And there wasn't a darn thing that was going to stop us. Yeah. Yeah. Not one thing. I remember we would pay extra money for products to come into Traverse City, Michigan with Northwest Airlines. And many of those boxes were broken apart. Some of the products were damaged. And that last flight came in at 11 o'clock in the evening. And there would be 15 sales leaders waiting for their products. And we paid extra to get those products in because we couldn't get them in fast enough. Nobody complained. Because we had a mission, we had a purpose, and I'm thinking today how so many people say they want to grow, and yet they cannot get on a Zoom. Liars, liars, liars. And I just want to, I wish people would just be honest about it.
Can I be honest?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I want to be honest. I've been in Shackley for 39 years, and I've loved it all along. And I've had tremendous growth, and I've had tremendous failures, and I've had great growth, and I've had great failure. But I've never lost my love for Shackley.
That's right.
I did not have. So when I had my failures, instead of looking forward, I looked at, and when I call them failures, it wasn't my failures. It's because people quit. And I took that on to be me. And instead of looking over it and realizing that this is just part of the business, I remember when Rick Seymour said to me once, "You just haven't lost enough sales leaders yet." That's the only difference between you and me. I'm a master. Which, it's like, okay, you know, I didn't like it, but okay, so that's part of the business. Gary Burke puts his finger in my chest. And he says, "I don't know what happened, Nine, but somewhere you lost your confidence. You need to figure it out and get it back and go again." So I did lose my confidence. It didn't mean that I loved Shackley any less. And it didn't mean that I didn't want a business, but I lost my confidence. And fear got in the way. But I did not create a new vision. And I've been there for, I bet, 5 years. But I have a vision now that is driving me. I've said it before where it is, but now I have a vision. And something that I learned recently, and it just really resonated with me, is that it's not what you get from your company. It's not the income that you get. You will set your goals on where you want to go, but it's what you give that will drive you. So my goal is to give $100,000 a year out and to be able to place that to different places. I mean, I've always been a big giver, probably more than I should have at times, but it is what it is. But I never looked at that as a goal. I never looked at that as a purpose. Yes, I've always said it's about making a difference, but I had to find something that drove me. So, and I'm doing it different than you're doing it, and you know that. And that's okay. But I believe that I have found my niche.
Wow.
And I'm very excited about it because I've been working in that direction for quite some time. But it's my vision that's driving me. But I think I finally put the last brick in, and you'll hear all about it when it starts really happening. So
Thank you, Nina.
yeah, but I know that it's what's in here. We wouldn't be on these webinars if we didn't want it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But what is it that's stopping us from doing what we have to do? I mean, part of my thing is doing live videos. I do webinars. I've done webinars for 10 years now, ever since Zal Fink was big guy in Shackley. I learned how to do it. But for me to go on Facebook and do a live video on there, it scares the daylights out of me. And I don't even have anybody on the screen. But that's the direction that I'm going, and it's okay because it's going to work. But do I do it because I'm confident? Absolutely not. I'm scared to death. And every time I get on there, it's like, am I really going to make a difference for somebody? Is what I'm going to say really going to touch other people? And that's where my focus has to be for me to be able to even get on there and do them right now. So it's kind of fun to see the little things that are happening, that are starting to happen there now. So give me a month.
Congratulations, Nina. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah,
I really appreciate what you've had to say.
It's huge
That
breakthrough there for me.
Huge, huge, huge. Gosh, I mean, you inspire. You really inspire.
Well,
I don't know if you realize that or not, but you really, really do inspire people. I'm certain everybody on here can feel that. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, you're talking about affecting somebody else. Last evening, I had a chance to look at Super Sunday with Oprah and Bradley Cooper, the actor. And boy, you talk about some in-depth stuff. And this movie that's just coming out with Lady Gaga. Apparently, it's a great, great movie. I haven't seen it. But he produced the movie and was in the movie. And it won awards. But he said, first of all, I love doing that. I've always wanted to do that since I was the age 12. That was the goal. I wanted to do that. I wanted to produce. And he said, I totally focused as the producer to make certain that I can touch other people's hearts. It says, I just totally focused on how I can make a difference for other people, because he cited how different things have happened in his life that have motivated him, that touched his life to make a difference for him. But it's totally, totally, totally about other people.
Yes. Yes.
And he said, I'm getting all these awards and so on. And she said, well, here you produced a movie that got an award for the best movie or something like that. And you were the producer and you didn't get an award for it. How do you feel? It doesn't bother me. I wanted to do the best to help other people, to inspire them, to inspire families, to inspire relationships. That's what I did it for. And I don't think you can find anything more that you can focus on than something like that. I mean, that's Dr. Shackley's philosophy for other people. And I think a lot of people at Shackley have gotten away from that. Other comments on this, because this is real stuff that I'm going over in my mind. And I had a chance, like I said, to talk to some people today that are not in the Osterhaus business. And It was about an hour and 15 minutes of questions, things they didn't understand. But they are so eager that I want to know this. I want to know this. I don't know this about the sales plan. Can you explain that? Can you explain this? Can you explain that? Because they were doing a lot of things that were not working very well. And so, and I talked to other people that, no, I don't have any questions. No, I'm good. I'm good. I say, you must have something. If you don't, then you're obviously not growing. Not going to happen. Who else? I'd like to get some other comments from all of you on what you're thinking about this, because this is a real situation that's going on in Shackley today. Shackley's sales are way down because of all the inconveniences that we've had and are still having with that web changeover. And I've already told Heather, you came out with it too soon, and you didn't test it enough. But it is what it is.
Exactly. Can I address that, Roland?
Yeah.
Because when that first came out, and I had a whole pile of auto ships that were screwed up, blah, blah, blah. And I was so beside myself. I was so upset. And I sat on those Zooms almost all day trying to get some answers. And I didn't get the answers I needed. And then I learned some answers through some other people. And I was obsessed with it. And I thought, what in the world are you doing? I had one of my sales leaders that could not put an order in until last week.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Well, that I wasn't real happy about, and I wasn't really nice about that when I got on the Zoom. But it got taken care of. It got immediate attention. But the reason that I wanted to share this is because I got so overcome and just like with that whole mess. And then I thought, no, somebody else is going to figure this out. It's going to work. Just give your customers the attention and focus on where you're going. And so I completely shut it off. And I know that those calls she does her support calls that you can get on there, I think twice a week or once a week or whatever. So I just made a big long list of all the different issues that came up. And I didn't deal with them but once a week. And then I would get on there and every one of them the entire IT system was in Linda Meyer's computer. And they found out that anybody that had Kaspersky spyware, which is from Best Buy, they put that on all their computers. They couldn't get into the system. But when I got on there and hollered, but I didn't make it my focus. And I guess the reason I wanted to say that is because it's so easy for us to allow the negative to suck us down. Mm-hmm. And I was on that road and I thought, no, that's not where you're going. Let go of it.
Yep.
So
good.
It's so easy to get into that. And then you talk to somebody else or you read a bunch of those posts on Facebook and it's like, you suck right back in again. Yeah. So I just want to say that as a warning. Don't do that. If you got a problem, put your phone on hold until you get field support, and then they will make it work out for you.
Yep. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other comments on what we've been talking about? I want to hear from all of you. Be nice.
Roland, I think back when we were starting, I think we had a couple other companies to contend with. And, I say contend, they were out there, whatever. Amway, and I don't know when Herbalife started. And then there was Shack. And that's what they had. Today there's 2,000 of them out there. There's like around 2,000 different companies, and they're like fly-by-night things. And I'm not saying that's an excuse, but, we have to learn and have to go about talking to people differently because they've still got the ailments and they're still all sick and they're still all a mess. But if we don't have the right words at the right time and learn to speak, with them, they're off into another company. And then it's sometimes a little more difficult to get them back in the fold.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. Absolutely.
So it goes back to building relationships and asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
Building that trust. And if
Very
we
simple.
do that over, they're going to still listen to us. And they'll come back to our company. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, we can look at that because there are tons of companies out there. Yeah.
Well, how many of us have people that, we kind of lost them along the way for whatever reason? They go to the health food store or whatever. But then
Come back.
they come back.
Yeah.
I've got a Ray's been with me probably pretty close to, all of 40, 42 years probably. And that guy comes to my place and he calls his order in. But he buys about $1,200 a month. He was in a horrible accident, fell on his head and shoulders from scaffolding. They took him to Chicago. They put a rod in him and da-da-da-da. He got better enough that he was able to drive out to my place when I lived out past the fairgrounds. He was able to drive, get into my house, go down the stairs, and pick his products up, that kind of thing. Well, they took him back in for surgery, excuse me, to take the rod out. Now, Ray is sold on these Shackley products. He would never, and he'll take anything that I say to him. And, and I don't do that, loosely, but anyhow, this is an example of what has been built over the years. And it's the loyalty. He knew what he had. He knows what Shackley has done for him. Because when they took that rod out of him, then that paralyzed him from his waist down. And the guy's never been able to walk since. And, it's such a sad outcome of this. But he's got such a great attitude. And he loves Shackley. I talk with him every once in a while. But he's been with me at least 42, maybe a little longer. He came in real early in my business when I first moved to Indiana. And I'll tell you what, when you develop people like that, and they're with you, then you go out and you talk to some of these people that are out on the street today, totally different approach, and what to do with them. So,
wow. What a story. What a story.
Oh, he just loves these products. When he was in the hospital or in the nursing home over here, we'd take his products in and he'd hide them in his wheelchair. I says, don't pay attention to them, right? I says, you can do whatever you want. And so we would, either Kurt or I would take product over to him so he could take his products. And, he'd hide them in his wheelchair, he'd hide them in the drawer, he'd hide them wherever they weren't supposed to be nosing around. And that's what he would do, to have these products. And that hasn't been that long ago. But, but he has an incredible attitude. Incredible attitude. We were talking about blood pressure. He had a blood pressure issue. And I said, well, Ray, I said, I talked about what products he was taking and, all this. I said, well, our cardiologist told us to get somebody a blood pressure issue, do 6 CoQ heart a day for 30 days. And this is what the cardiologist told me. And he said, now, since then, I've learned that from Dr. Browse, you do 2 blood pressure things 3 times a day. And so anyhow, I tell Ray this, and boom, right away he does it. Guess what? His blood pressure straightens out. So.
Wow, it works. Thank you. Great story. Who else has comments on this subject or things that you have on your mind? Please go ahead. Unmute yourself. We want to learn from you, please. Thank you, Michelle.
Well, tomorrow I am going to a real estate agency, and they have their meeting every couple weeks, and they gave me 10 minutes tomorrow to talk about Shackley. So I've worked the last few days constantly taping myself what I'm going to say, and what I've come to the conclusion is in 10 minutes there's not I can't possibly tell them all about Shackley, but I want to get them to have a positive reaction to want to know more. And so I'm very excited tomorrow to at least get across to them what my mission is and why I am doing this and why I feel that it's important that I have this opportunity and I took it to talk to, 20 people. Even though they are only giving me 10 minutes, but the importance of how I feel, of the change that I can make. So I'm excited about that tomorrow.
Good for you. That's going to be great. Thank you.
A little nervous, but I keep telling myself I'll pretend they're like my friends and family. I don't know them, so sometimes that's better.
That's great. Oh, I'll be anxious to hear how you do, and I know you'll do very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you going to talk to them about nutrition or what do you, or skincare or what? Is it
it's just mainly about the cleaning products they're thinking that they're going to hear about. So that's my main subject. And then, but I do want to mention definitely the nutrition, so that they know that they could have a one-on-one with me, and if they're tired, if they want to feel better, that they can learn more. So I don't think I'll get the skincare in there in 10 minutes, but if I can, I'll mention that there's, Shackley has the lines that they have, and especially the weight loss, and there's so much to mention. So I just want to pique their interest.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, who else?
Hi, Roland. Hi, guys. How is everybody?
Very good. Good, Ron. Thank you. Thank you. We're with you, girl.
Huh?
We're with you.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
So, have you guys tried the mascara? Well, I don't know if you've tried it, Roland.
Not yet.
But if you guys can find these little brushes, carry them around with you, and accidentally drop your mascara on the floor, because someone will definitely pick it up and they'll say, "Oh, mascara, would you like to try?" And you give them one of these and they try it and they end up buying it. And when they buy it, I give them the eye remover with the mascara. So that is a door opener for the youth.
Good.
I think we have to start having fun in presenting stuff. I remember my dad putting the lipstick on a mirror and going like that, and the lipstick came right off on the cloth on a mirror. So we have to go back to having fun.
Yes. Yes.
That's a good point. We used to have a lot of skits at meetings and stuff like that, and
yeah,
we've gotten too serious. Very good. Thank you, Sharon. Who else? Go ahead, Shannon. You've been waiting.
Sorry, I was muted. I started to have Feel Better in 30 Days Zoom calls. So it used to be I did a whole lot of bingo, then I kind of got away from that for a little bit, and then I'm just doing, do you want to feel better in 30 days? And I had a handful of people come, but the one that I had a lot of fun with. And I've gotten away from talking about specific products and telling more stories. And even though I'm not exactly showing them every single Shackley product like I used to, I'm getting way more bang for my buck out of doing it a short and condensed version. And it's taken me a long time because the way I was trained was more, you know, you show every product and tell every possible story that you could think of. And by the end of the hour, everyone is exhausted. At least that's how I felt. And they all said, oh my gosh, I have no idea where to start. So I was working with another Shackley distributor, and it made my presentation, and then I had Nina, she doctored it up, made it look all pretty. But that's been working well for me, and I really enjoy it because you give a little bit of it, but it's enough to pique people's curiosity and interest, so then they're the ones who are asking me the questions. And that has been way more fun than sitting down and kind of like drilling. And I used to feel like I was lecturing them, you know what I mean, and throwing out all these statistics. And this sounds silly, but I recently had someone who wanted to tell me all about their hair care because they're in this amazing product, one of those other 200 or thousands or whatever that's out there. And she's telling me all these specific ingredients and all this stuff. My brain's going, I don't care. Does it work? So my aha was, I don't care. Does it work? And that's what people want to know. So I talked all about, you know, kind of a little bit, and then I kept going back to the cleanse for whatever reason. I just felt like I needed to because it was more based on the nutrition. And it was so much fun, though. It was so much more fun. And the more I practiced, the easier it became. And now, like, if I did one every night, I would be super crazy happy. I just love doing them, and it's so much fun. But I think, though, without trying it and falling forward, because I failed a lot, you know, trying this a couple times and doing the bingo presentation and those types of things. There was a lot of stuff I didn't do right, but if I never felt uncomfortable enough to try that, I would have never known what I did wrong and how I can improve it. And so, you know, Nina kind of listened to a little bit of what I had to say, and she goes, and you're going to say this, right? Yes, I am. I'm going to say that. That's right. I'm going to say that. So kind of mixing it all in and then ending with your passion and saying, you know, I kind of ended with my story. So I kind of told what my deal was, you know, and my huge allergy story. And then I ended with, and this has helped me so much that I am so passionate about sharing it with others because I know how amazing it was for me and how it changed my life. And that is why I want to share it with all of you, because I know it can be, you know, amazing or whatever. And I know, you know who's going to be on your Zoom typically before you get there. So it's been a lot of fun. I've had way more fun doing that. And I increased my PV. For me, it's big. I increased my PV by 500. So that was good. And I have already had one person from last month reorder. So I think it's just good. It's good not to give them everything, but to pique the curiosity. And my systems have been a little bit better. As soon as they become a member, I've got, you know, a whole bunch of packets that I send out ready. So I don't have to think about it. I don't just spend time. I can spend more time like on my thank you card and personalizing that. So that's kind of what I've been doing, especially since we keep getting snow here in Pennsylvania. So that's been fun. That's kind of what I've been doing.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Anybody have any questions for Shannon on that? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gary, what do you have to say?
Well, I don't like to say a lot because I might come off as a wet blanket. Neil and I deal with this every day. We talk about it. And Marion touched on it. The culture in this country has changed a great deal since we started 40 years ago. My problem is that I'm going to be 80 in a couple of years. I don't have any way to contact the younger people. So all we have left to deal with is our current customers who are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s as well. And none of them are interested in basically going out and doing the business. So it's a little bit different situation here. It's frustrating. And of course, we got all this competition. Every day on the television set, a new weight loss program, a new drug for diabetes. It's nuts. So it just, the competition is unbelievable compared to what it was 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we've outgrown a lot of the population we'd like to work with. So, and plus we have a limited population to start with here in the county.
Uh-huh.
You've been to our place. We're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you are. You are.
Lots of diving.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate your interest.
Well, I wish I had something more powerful, but that's just where we're at right now. So
Sure. Sure. Maggie, what do you have to say?
Well, I don't have a whole lot to say tonight. It's been crazy. It's been just really busy with parent-teacher conferences, so I haven't done a whole lot. But I've got an in-home coming up in a couple weeks. I got a one-on-one tomorrow. And I think I just have to keep reminding myself I've gotten kind of lax about doing the self-talk every day and just going over my vision every day. I've been doing that as much, and I feel like I feel the effects of it. Even though I've been busy, I think it's not moving as like it was because I'm not talking about it and thinking about it like I was, a few weeks ago.
Okay. All right. Well, all these things happen. All these things happen, and sometimes have to regroup and say, where do I go from here? Thank you. Did we miss anybody? Wants to comment? Well, here are some things that I'm thinking. One is, I know some of you have put down where you want your business to be. Of course, it makes a decision. Makes a decision. But once you make the decision, I would like to backtrack with you and figure out, okay, what are we going to do next month? What will happen the next month? It's like some people say, well, okay, I'm going to be a director by the end of the year. And they're bringing into their group about one member a month. It's not going to happen. Some people say I'm going to be an executive. To be an executive in this given amount of time, it's going to take a certain amount of things to happen. It's just like a farmer says, I've got 1,000 acres and it should be planted within the next 2 weeks. There's certain things that have to be done to that ground. Get it ready. And I think many people say, well, I want to have that 1,000 acres planted, but I don't have a timetable for it. I'd like to have it happen so we have a good crop, but there is a timetable to do things. Otherwise, we get out of momentum and other things get in the way. It's so easy for things to get in the way. Then we become complacent. So I feel it's so good to go back and review what we said we're going to do. Remake that decision and then figure out, okay, what am I going to do next month? And I'll be happy to talk with you on the phone and figure out what must it look like to do that. You say you're going to be an executive in 7-8 months. What must be done next month to make it happen? What must be done the following month to make it happen? Otherwise, we can put it off. It's kind of like when perhaps we were in school and we didn't have to have the paper done for a year. And most people waited till the very end. At least I did. To get it done. Burn the midnight oil the last few nights to get that thing done. Well, it's very difficult to do that in Shackley because we've got to do so much on it this month, so much the next month, and so on. So our business is at a certain point. It's just like I say to people, okay, based on what you're telling me, that you have a couple of members in your group right now, and you want to be at a director level next month. Okay, do you realize we're talking about you got to add 20 members to your group? Well, I didn't think about that. Well, to make it happen, that's really what has to happen. And so that is something I'd like to do if any of you are interested, and show me where your business is going to be, and let's backdate it and say, okay, what's next month, the following month, the following month, the following month. So we know exactly what must be done to do that. Like I said earlier, I think there are a lot of people who are not seeing the opportunities in Shackley, and we're blinded. There's some very key groups in Shackley today. One is the young family where they have a couple children. They seem to be a really hot group. They're looking for everything they can to be in better health. And the others are the baby boomers. Many of them are living longer and they want to be in good health. This has become the thing. And I think many times we lose sight of that. The other thing is that it's really, really important to step up and understand what it means to be a leader and take on leadership roles. Yes, there are a lot of other companies out there, but they're looking for something or someone who has the concern, leadership, can help to guide, because so many of these people are getting into companies, I hear this all the time, and they are not, they're not getting any support in the group that they're in. Pretty soon they drop out. There are a lot of people that drop out of other companies. They have never gotten the support or the leadership. It just came in with a bunch of excitement, a bunch of activity, and nobody's there to help them. And boy, that's a big asset that we have, that we can provide leadership. If we're going to step up, we're going to figure out where we're going to go. So that way we can say to people, yes, I have the passion for this business, but this is where I'm going. Who wants to be with me? And I think a lot of people have lost that passion. So we've got to have that passion. You know, and a person I talked to today, the one that asked me questions for an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes, she wanted to get into Shackley. She read about Shackley. She learned about Shackley, and Shackley was very good. She contacted, one being a master coordinator, number of them with big businesses. She contacted 4 people and said, I want to join Shackley and build a business, and nobody returned her phone calls. That says volumes. Finally, one person said, well, yeah, okay, you can do it. And she did it basically on her own. She didn't have any help. And the person that said okay, that she joined under, dropped out of Shackley. And she still did it. She's a senior director. And she wants to become a master coordinator. That's why she asked questions for an hour and 15 minutes. So it goes back to the passion. It goes back to making that decision, that it's so easy to forget that decision and just go through the motions for a period of time. And so I'm really, 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 really committed to helping people who really, really, really want to grow, that really want to grow and develop a business. That's where my commitment is. And I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the activities that many of you are doing. And I want to help any way I can. Sharon, you had something to say?
Tonight on Global News, they were talking about network marketing. And of course, they used Isogenics as the marketing company. But the lady was saying that she left her corporate position to do multi-level marketing because it was best for her in her interest with her 5 kids. She says it's not easy. It is a lot of work, but there is income. And they just talked about it. So it was good. It was bad. It's a shame it wasn't Shackley, but oh well. I think we'll get busier once, you know, all our heads are screwed on, right?
Well, you know, thank you for that, Sharon. I think we've all heard of people who get into some of these other companies that don't have the products, they don't have the marketing plan, they have nothing for nothing, and people are making an income and they're happy as can be. And here we've got the best, and we kind of twiddle our thumbs and say, well, you know, no, we've got the best. And I think, like I said, it's too dang comfortable. I don't know of any other company that you can get into and not hardly do anything and still maintain a good business unless you have a huge, huge business to begin with. I don't know people doing it in any other company. Like, you know, 2 years ago when we were at GrowPro, heard some people speaking there, And fortunately, Charlene Fike was there, and because of some passes we had, she was able to meet with some of these other people who are making, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And they happen to all be women. Hundreds of thousands. They're probably making at least $500,000 a year. Some even making $1 million. In fact, I met one that's making about $2 million a year. $2 million. $2 million. Young person. And Charlene said to them, and they said, what company you with? And she said, Shackley. And they said, oh, that is a great company. How long have you been in that company? She said, well, I've been in for so many years, but I've been out of it for 16 years because of other things my husband and I were doing. And we're really back into it again because we really, really want to develop good leaders in the group. You were out for 16 years and you still had a business? They said, we have to work 24/7. If we stop, our business is going to go down. And we feel very, very, I'm quoting, we feel very, very sorry for people coming into our businesses because they don't know it's built on a house of cards. We've got it too easy, too good, too convenient. Products are too good. I'm glad they're good, but it means we can be very complacent and never set goals, never make a decision, get a few people in here and there, and we keep going. Like somebody said to me the other day, who was talking about how good Shackley is and all the crap we have gone through over the years. And I'm telling you, we've gone through some real stuff. Not knowing whether Shackley was going to be on the market or not, because at one time it was on the stock market and it could have been sold and chopped up. We didn't know. We didn't know what was going to happen. And his point was, in spite of everything we've gone through, you can't kill it. These products are so good, you can't kill it. Any other company, we would have been gone probably 30 years ago. Definitely within 20 years ago, we would have been gone, no longer on the market, no longer Shackley products. I don't know how fortunate you feel you are, but I'm so fortunate that Dr. Shackley started with great products. We've continued that philosophy because I don't know what I would do if I weren't able to take Shackley every day. We've gotten pretty soft. We really have. So once again, I want to help people. If you set the target, where you're going, what you're going to do, and then we'll figure out, okay, what happens next month, the following month, the following month, the following month. So that way, we're not going to be overwhelmed, and we can be very productive because all of you on this Zoom could be master coordinators. You could all be master coordinators. It's just a decision. It's all in the thinking. It's nothing else. Many of you are doing presentations. You're talking to people. You got great products. The products work. People talk to other people about the products. You got everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the question as to whether it can be done or not. Any last comments from anyone?
Roland, next week on the 7 o'clock Zoom, that'll be mainly on children's health. I know Amy Prater will be on there to tell her story, and then SUNY will follow her.
Okay.
And then we'll probably have one more children's testimonial.
So that's a great opportunity to bring people on, especially not only yourselves, but bring people on that have children. What a great way for them to learn about the value of these products for children and to give them confidence, that their kids can take it. That's a biggie.
Yes.
That's a biggie. Should be a big group on that one. Okay. Thank you for being on. We'll be on next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.